Welcome to Your Future in Sales and Marketing, a podcast that helps you make great career decisions to get the most out of your career journey. We'll introduce you to the AXR network of established senior leaders and a handpicked group of future aspiring leaders who have it all in front of them. You'll learn what it's like in the top job and how to get there. Your hosts from AXR's specialist sales and marketing recruitment team will also land bonus episodes for you on how to work with recruiters, write a resume, and smash an interview, as well as our very popular market updates. It's the podcast that has it all. You can't get this career advice anywhere else. Hello and welcome to Your Future in Sales and Marketing. I am joined by Ben Carnegie. So Ben heads up marketing recruitment at AXR, a relatively new addition to the team, although it already feels like part of the furniture. Ben, do you want to give us a brief overview of kind of your background and your role with AXR?
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Andrew. Great to be here. I've been watching, obviously, the podcast over many years now, and nice to finally be part of it there. Some of you may have heard or met with me at some point or another, but it's nice to introduce myself to so many more in this way. Having been in marketing recruitment now for coming up to, I think this is my 18th year now. I've certainly seen a lot across all levels of marketing and all the specializations within that, and it's really interesting to see the trends that are coming out and how that sort of changed over the last few years and what we expect to see for this year.
And today we are talking through the 2025 edition of the AXR Salary Guides. It's always a popular episode, this one. Everyone loves talking about salaries. So we're going to talk through a couple of things. So one is to give you a bit of an overview of the guides, how they're used, how to use them. And then we'll dive into, what's in them. And then we'll talk a little bit about the specific insights on salary movements across the three areas that we recruit for in the sales and marketing side of the business. So firstly, the AXR salary guides. So I've been in market for a few years now, and we're really proud of where we've gotten to. So these are used across the industry as a bit of a benchmark. So they're used by internal talent and HR teams for benchmarking. They're used by managers and employees for salary reviews, and they're used by people actively seeking a job and those who are very happy but maybe thinking, am I paid at the right level?
Everyone wants to know what they're worth.
They do, but it's not just the numbers that are in the salary guides, though.
No, it's far more than just numbers and a range of dollars that should be affixed to your particular field of expertise. It's also a list of the types of skills and qualifications that you might require to be in part of the role or in that role, as well as what we're actually looking for when recruiting in those in those roles for this year.
And obviously the numbers are really important, but it's not just about the numbers, is it?
No, it's not just about the numbers. It's more than just the dollar associated with a particular job. It's about what you should really be expecting when you're doing a job like that, and what we're going to be looking for in 2025 to help us determine whether you're appropriate.
Yeah, and it's going beyond the job title, isn't it? Because whether it's marketing or sales, a job title can be one thing on paper, but when you go below the surface and actually look at what the role entails, it can be quite different. So this salary guide is really useful for that as well. So you go, I'm a national account manager. Let me have a look here. Am I actually doing a NAM job? So that's why they can be helpful as well.
Very much so. Sales, like you say, very much like that. Marketing, on the other hand, a marketing manager could be one of the lowest jobs in a business, or it could be one of the most senior. It's very ambiguous, the titles, and particularly across when you look across so many different industries, you really have to look at responsibilities and salary level to determine the true seniority of a role, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And from a marketing standpoint, Ben, so most of the work that we do in sales and category, while it's not exclusively within FMCG, most of it is there. But with marketing, since you come on board, we've actually got a lot broader scope in there. So do you want to talk about how the guides have evolved from a marketing standpoint this year?
Very much so. So as you say, we've been very focused on FMCG, but bringing in a number of different role titles that can expand to adjacent industries to that, for example, retail and consumer goods, but even further to healthcare and financial services. We're quite able to support across all there. When you look at the types of roles that you'll see in this year's salary guide, you'll still see all of the marketing-related FMCG positions from brand manager, senior brand manager, marketing manager, through to your directors and CMOs. But this time around, you'll see a lot more new titles within the salary guide that'll include CRM and lifecycle, performance, loyalty marketing. You'll also see content, growth, and social media as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Ben. So what we'll do now, we'll actually dive into some of the specific insights across the areas that we recruit in and what you'll see in the numbers. So touching on sales, first of all, we have seen salary inflation at a NAM and a national business manager level in the last 12 months. That hasn't resulted in a shift in the overall ranges. So the top end of the bracket hasn't moved up. But what we have seen is a creeping of the median towards the top end of the range. And to give you an example of that, national account managers in the last 12 months, a lot of demand for tried and tested experience at a NAM level. Businesses going to market for a NAM role generally want someone who's got a few years of doing that under their belt. And that comes with a price tag, because if you're a high-performing NAM looking after a decent-sized account in a good business, you're probably at least in the sort of mid-range of that 150 to 180 range that we see for national account managers. So all of a sudden, if you want to be making a move, particularly as things aren't getting any cheaper out there, you're going to be demanding upwards of that 165, getting towards 170 for a NAM. And a lot of businesses don't have their budget adjusted to that level just yet. So it's been a bit of a rude awakening. But again, to the point we made in terms of it's not just about the numbers, what you do. If you are a NAM thinking, hey, I'm going to go and get that sort of money, you've got to be earning it, because expectations at a NAM level have really, really stepped up in terms of the level of commercial acumen, negotiation ability, stakeholder management, complex stakeholder management as well that's happening. So good talent is being well rewarded. Where we have seen a shift in the range itself is at a sales director level. So that's been quite a significant movement in the last year. Towards the back end of the year, particularly, we started to get into those sales director roles as they started to open up. And we have been blown away by the money that some sales directors are on. So the top end of the sales director bracket, as you'll see when you download the guide, is getting up towards that, 400, just over 400 from a base perspective. Again, that comes with high expectation, but we have seen a big shift in that sales director bracket. From a marketing point of view, Ben, what are some of the trends?
There's been a fair bit of market stabilization, actually. When you look at the years of like 2021 to 2023, where we had gone through a particularly candidate short market there, almost at all levels, the businesses were really competing with one another so significantly that we did see inflation up to perhaps sort of 20% above what market rate really had been. Now that we're moving back to more of a stable sort of market where there's so many more candidates that are readily available, it comes back to that perception of what the candidates think the market should be paying versus what the employers are actually prepared to pay now. And that's actually driving quite a few of the salaries, not backwards to a point where they're unreasonable, but certainly to a point where they were perhaps 3 to 4 years earlier. On the other hand, though, there are specific positions that are still quite candidate short in terms of being very good at your skills, being able to look at CRM, for example, being able to look at the data and understand those touch points and what points along the customer life cycle should be identified for specific personalization communications. There's a shortage of people at that end of the market, which I think is still driving those salaries up. So whilst they have been driven up over the last couple of years, they're not dropping back like many of the other positions right now.
Yeah, okay. And then from a category point of view, as we touched on in our episode around the sort of market outlook for 2025, in 2024, category was really static. There has not been much movement. There's been a handful of category roles in the market in the last 12 months. And we do expect that to change coming into this year. Where we probably have seen some movement is in the revenue growth management space. And we talk about that in the context of category because more often than not, RGM tends to sit within the category function. And what you've seen in the last kind of couple of years is the establishment of RGM within businesses. Generally, they're taking someone who's got good finance experience, putting them into that role, or potentially sales experience, putting them into that role. And now you've got this group of RGM managers in businesses who are sitting around that sort of 160 to 170 sort of area. So as other businesses are springing up with their own RGM function and wanting to hire experienced talent, they're having to actually pay a bit more than that. So you're starting to see that RGM manager bracket shift from that sort of 160 bottom end up to even a 180 sort of top end. So that, as an emerging function, is quite interesting. And it'll be cool to see what happens with that function coming into this year as businesses start to build it out. So I think across the board, there's some really interesting sort of trends to talk through from a salary perspective. We'd really encourage you to download the guides. So they'll be hosted online as they were last year, but with the option to download them as well. And we'd encourage you to use them. So if you've got a salary review coming up, get in there, have a look at what the market's paying for your role type or the one that you've got your eye on, but also what's expected. Are you doing all of those things? HR and talent functions, these are really, really useful because these are very, very accurate guides. And of course, we've got an accompanying sort of podcast episode, which should be coming out soon, around how to actually negotiate yourself a raise. So the perfect sort of companion episode to go along with the guides. So if you want to get access to the salary guides, sign up to the AXR mailing list. You'll not only get the guides, you'll also get Sales Marketing Collective, How's the Market blog, and all the various bits and pieces that come with that. And yeah, make sure that you know where you stand and what you should be aiming for. And if you ever want to reach out for a confidential discussion on salary, Ben, myself, and the rest of the AXR team are here to help. So thanks for joining me, Ben.
No problem. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast from AXR Recruitment and Search. We're passionate about helping you get the most out of your sales and marketing career. Keep listening as we bring you more career insights and advice from Australia's inspiring sales and marketing leaders. See you next time on Your Future in Sales and Marketing.